What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Hatch's Recreational Engineering, and we are still working on the Ventura. I went ahead and I welded a patch in to the quarter on this side, and I don't recommend burning in a patch that's like a patch of the wheel arch halfway through the wheel arch, but given our time frame and whatnot, that's what I went ahead and did. We're trying to get this car done, I need this car done. I'm not putting a full quarter on this just for a wheel arch. I didn't want to go... Excuses. Alright, we did what we did. I wouldn't recommend it, but actually it came out really good. I am pretty darn happy with the way that this wheel arch came out, you know, all things considered. So this is good. The lower quarter was patched already. That's good. The quarter on the other side, if you remember from way back, we went ahead and welded a big half on there. So I did some finishing body work over here. But we are basically at the point where we need to figure out what we're doing for paint on this thing. We've got all these patch panels welded in. Half the car is primer, half the car is orange, half the car is white. The legend has it with the Ventura that this is the tool that the previous owner, when he decided he was going to start doing body work, this is the tool he made to get the paint off. So he was using that thing and just down the side of the car to scrape the paint off. I mean, you can see evidence of that. And I think the worst spot of it that was like left half finished is on this door. So you can see like he was chipping away at it. And it's definitely a interesting removal method. Never seen anything quite like that. Nonetheless, it makes for an interesting story that the guy used a homemade machete to do his body work. So this is where we're at. And we're at a crossroads where we need to decide what we're going to do with this thing. Ultimately, I don't have the funds to do like a beautiful paint job. And this car, given its it's a solid car, but given its condition and stuff, you would have to do body work on this thing for months to get this body perfect and straight enough to do like a really, really nice paint job. And that's just not my forte. I know enough body work to be like kind of sort of dangerous, and that's about it. I don't have the patience to like really, really fine tune it. So ultimately what I decided we're going to go ahead and do, in the spirit of our channel and keeping with our normal theme, I went ahead and bought rattle cans. Woo! That's nice. Now don't panic. The rattle cans are single stage 2K urethane. It's got this push pin thing that activates an activator inside of it. You shake the can for a little while and then you let it have it. But I did go ahead and get those custom made in the factory orange. So we are going to return the car to its orange color. Because it's cool. It's like a hugger orange color. I forget what Pontiac actually calls it. I did have the paint code. But in order for us to do what we're going to do, my plan here is I'm going to hit the whole car with the DA and knock all this spray paint and stuff off, knock the rust, you know, the surface rust stuff down a little bit. I think what we're going to go ahead and do is paint it and blend it up into the roof line. I am not going to paint the roof. There's no rust in the roof, just this patina. And I like it, you know, it's kind of my thing. The trunk lid is actually not orange, so I'm gonna have to get that off. We'll paint that as well. But basically what I need to do tonight is start prepping the quarters to get the quarters and the door to be painted. I think I'm actually gonna wind up leaving this door because I actually like the scrape marks. It kind of tells a story. I want to keep as much of the Ventura as original as I can. I mean, I know I can't keep it all original because we had to do a lot of work and we have a lot of hours in this car. But like that passenger side door where the machete marks are, I mean, it tells a story. And I want to try and keep as much of that as I can. So we're going to go ahead and start sanding on this car and hopefully get this thing ready for some paint. All right, guys, so next morning here, and the Ventura is all sanded and I masked it off. don't use masking tape like this. I couldn't find my brown paper bag stuff to tape the car off, but I had a whole bunch of Harbor Freight rolls of masking tape, so the whole car is masked off where we don't want to paint it, and beach toweled. But basically this is what we're doing here. Driver's door, driver's quarter. I'm not painting the trunk lid. I'll take it off the car later and we'll do the trunk lid, the hood, and I think we got to do a driver's side fender. But we'll do the tail panel, this side of the car, and the passenger side quarter. Like I said before, I'm not going to go ahead and do the door over here because most of the paint's on the door and I like the way it looks. So we're getting ready to go ahead and hit this thing with the rattle can. I've got the heater running in here because it is cold outside. Luckily, the garage is underneath my house, so it doesn't get like crazy cold in here. But it was like below freezing last night. It snowed last night. So it had a little chill in here. So I've got it probably up to like mid 60s, maybe 70 degrees in here. So that should give us the best shot possible to lay down some halfway decent paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and get masked up and we're gonna get the spraying. Alright guys, so I'm out here waiting outside my paint booth, which is baking. Catch a sneak peek real quick. Woo, baby! So the Pontiac is out in the driveway, first time after, being painted. It's cold out here. The paint's maturing for a couple days. And if you know me, I don't do shiny cars. The other thing too is my body work. I'm no body man, okay? My body work is okay enough, but it's not great. It's not great enough for shiny paint. You could definitely see, especially like on that quarter panel that I welded on there where I got highs and lows. But anyway, the paint looks amazing, but I can't deal with it. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and dull this thing up. We're gonna try and ratty this thing up. I'm gonna try and, we talked about it before, I'm gonna try and blend the paint up into that rusty, patinaed roof. And I have to see if I can get it to match the door on the passenger side because the paint is super shiny and the door is kind of dull. So we'll see how that comes out. If not, worst case scenario, I'll have to paint the door, okay? We still got to do the front fenders and stuff, but come on, it's one color-ish. One color-ish. So I'm going to get to wet sanding on this thing, and we'll see how it comes out. All right, so I've got a little over an hour into this side, and the wet sanding doing exactly what I thought it would do. It's dull in and out. I'm purposely like cutting through in areas that would be, patinaed if they were. This is blending up into the roof pretty good. I mean, there's still a long way to go here, but I just wanted to like quick hit it with a towel and dry it off to see if it was going to do what I wanted it to do. And it's working. Like I said, there's still definitely a lot of work to do to this side. I'm very, very impatient. So I want to go ahead and start hitting this side to see if we're going to match that door, because I'm a little worried about the door. So this side. Have the last panels prepped for paint. Everything else on the car is done. We were gonna have to paint the hood, the deck lid, and the driver's side front fender. But after starting to prep on the hood for paint, I realized that underneath, like the pink salmon color spray paint that was on the hood, the original orange was actually underneath there. So we went ahead and sanded through the spray paint to get down to the orange, and I wound up hitting that with a buffing wheel, and it came around pretty cool. I like the way it looks. It's a close enough match to the paint job we did on the car that I think it'll be all right. Now, I was gonna prime this fender, but take a look at the primers that I bought. I bought brown and like a black, because we have to try and match these fenders to like the patina look at the front of this car. But after prepping this fender for paint, this fender's already brown and black. So I don't think I'm gonna prime it. I think we're gonna paint right over top of what's here with the orange. And then when I go and wet sand, you know, I can cut through it in spots and patina match it pretty good to match that hood for sure. Now this deck lid, on the other hand, this thing was red, so that was never gonna pan out. So we went ahead and cut through this thing. I'm gonna primer the bottom of it gray because I don't want any issues with that base coat laying on here. I want it to just lay nice and flat and shiny. And then we'll go ahead and flip her over and get the bottom side. So I'm gonna cover this bad boy up so we don't get any overspray on it, gray primer. And let's get to priming this thing. Well, this is embarrassing. I ran out of primer. I only had half of one can. You should look for these things before you start doing the things. I was like, man, I got like a paint thing. I was like, man, I gotta have tons of automotive primer in here. I did not have tons of automotive primer. So that's it, that's primed. And when that dries, we'll flip it over. I'm gonna do some magic to the other side because we gotta darken it way up. The whole top of the car is, you know, surface rusty. So we gotta make this trunk lid look right before we paint it orange. All right, guys, well, after about 2 weeks of putting in hard, long hours after work and in between kids' sports and the Christmas holiday, the Ventura is painted. If you remember, it almost exactly 1 year to the day we dragged this car home, and it sat in this very same spot in the driveway in the snow, just like today. And here it is as a complete running and driving vehicle. There's still stuff we would have to button up on this thing. I still have some more cosmetic plans for it, but here's the Ventura. So one thing about this project is we did not do a restoration. Obviously, I painted the car, portions of the car, and restored it so that it's not a rusty mess, but this was by no means a restoration. My budget doesn't allow for that kind of work, and in order to do that, we would have had to do so much work to this car. We would have had to restore bumpers and get hard to find Pontiac Ventura parts that, you know, you can't buy replaced or restored, or it just wasn't in the cards. So by making a Ratty Muscle Car Ventura, we were able to get this car back on the street for cheap. And I think it's a pretty cool car. So let me know what you think of the budget rattle can paint job and my patina matching on this thing. Let me know if you like it, don't like it, hate it, makes zero sense to you. And you know, Merry Christmas from my family to yours. Thank you guys so much. These videos and everything, I wouldn't make them if it wasn't for the support that I get from you guys. So huge thanks for following along, liking, subscribing, sharing our content. Hopefully after the Christmas holiday here, we start getting some merch for you guys. And right after Christmas, you'll see some more content on the Ventura. So thanks for following. Click that like button, and we will see you next time.